Coming up on today's show, we are talking about how exposure gives you permission. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up and Show Up Live. I am your host, Portia Scott, and this is your daily show, giving you a daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. How is everyone doing on this Monday, or as they like to say, Monday afternoon? I'm super excited. How's everyone doing? Come in here. I know a lot of you guys are working from home. Maybe some of you guys have already gone back to work, but how is everyone doing? I want to know, how's everyone doing? Also, let me know. We haven't done this in a while, but where are you watching from? Where are you staying home at? And if you are back to work, where are you watching from? Because I know we always have people in the house from Atlanta, of course, because that is where I am. But we have people from Boston and Cali and all over the place. So we want to know, where are you watching from? Hello, darling. Good morning, Marlene. Thank you so much for joining. So yes, let us know where you're watching from. Also, as always, we love to keep in touch with you. How do we do this? The way we do that is through text. And so if you text the phrase wake up to 31996, that's wake up to 31996. One, you should have gotten an alert, or you would get an alert on Mondays to let you know that we are going live with your daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. We also let you know when we are dropping a new podcast episode, and we have had some great interviews on there. So if you have not had a chance to check out the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, I absolutely recommend that you do. But we want to make sure that we're staying in contact with you. So if you have not signed up, sign up. Colleen, Texas in the house. Bridget, thank you so much for joining, darling. Marlene is in Boston. Hello, mommy. She is in Atlanta. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hello. You guys know how we do it here. If something I say or somebody in the comments in our community is speaking your language, is reading your mail, is agreeing with something that you already say, you know what we say? We always say, hello, darling. That's our way to let everybody know that we are with you. One of the things we love to do is we want to know, what are you grateful for? Thank you so much, mommy, for the hair. I had to put it up. But what are you guys grateful for? I will tell you, I am grateful because my kids are almost out of school. They are wrapping up the last of the stuff that they have to do, and homeschool is over for the summer. So I am super excited. I can't lie that yesterday I was on my phone looking for flights, and I ain't even been to the Target around here, but I'm just like so excited that summer is coming. So you guys let me know, what are you grateful for? What are you guys doing? What do you guys have planned for the summer? I know some places are open, some places are not and are still closed. And so what are some of the things that you guys are going to do with your kids for the summer? Help me out, because I don't know. I want to make sure that even if we are inside, that I'm able to give them a summer that they won't forget to see another day. Hallelujah. Yes. Hello, darling. That is the truth. So you guys, I'm super excited about today's episode because we are talking about exposure. It is something that I love talking about. I live it in my life. It is the one thing I always say, that exposure gives us permission to shift our expectations and change our environment. Exposure gives us permission to shift our expectations and change our environment. What is going on today? And me talking, but I'm super excited. Expectations are so important. Exposure is so important. Pamela, thank you so much for joining, darling. Glad to see you over on the daily show. I love seeing Pamela on the weekly show. If you guys have not tuned into the weekly COVID-19 update, you should. It is an amazing show, and we have some new things coming up in the coming weeks, so we are super excited about that. But one of the things I wanted to talk about exposure is because I think it's so important that we are exposed, right? One of the things that I believe is that we can only go as far as our expectations will allow us. So when we're looking at exposure, we are looking at our expectations and our environment. How often have we all created these scenarios in our head where we don't win? How often have you had to do something or had an idea or had a plan or had a burning desire to do something? And the first scenario you play in your mind is, it won't happen for me. I won't win. Or we think about the negative outcome of something new. If that is you, I want you guys to say, hello, darling, hello, darling, hello, darling. I'm putting that in there because I've definitely been there, that when I have wanted to do something, say something, be something, dream something, have a goal, have purpose, have a passion, the first scenario I think about is why it won't happen. And the way that we change those scenarios is exposure, because my behaviors are in direct correlation with my exposure, my experience, and my environment. So if we want those things to change, if we want those scenarios to change, then guess what? We need to change our exposure, we need to change our environment, and we need to change our experiences. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was that I started traveling. Hello, darling. Hey, cousin Teresa. I started traveling very, very early as a young girl because my father was in the military. So one of my first flights was transatlantic. We went to Germany. And I remember not being scared of flying. I love to fly. Even after that, I flew back and forth as I grew up. I flew to different places, never had any problems with planes, never had any problems with traveling or meeting new people. But listen to this. The one thing that I did have and the exposure that I was able to get was not when I was flying, but when I had the opportunity to fly first class. The reason why that's important is because our exposure allows us to change our experience, our environment, and it allows us to shift our expectations. While I knew I could always travel, I could always buy a ticket, I could always go somewhere, I could navigate in a new country. But when I was exposed to a new level of flying, when I was used to or exposed to a new level of what happens, I will tell you, and yes, who cares that my first experience flying first class was an upgraded ticket. Come on, somebody. I still was there. Exposure. No, I didn't buy the first class ticket, but I got upgraded. And so it doesn't matter that I got upgraded. The fact is that I got exposure. And so initially, when I wanted to go into the first class, I was like, oh, well, maybe I won't be able to do first class because one, I did not have a blazer or suit jacket, right? And so what I had always heard is you need a suit jacket in order to go to first class. And so I got in this upgrade and I didn't have a suit jacket on. Honestly, I came from a business trip, but I just didn't have a jacket with me. But you know what? When I was exposed to that first class experience and I sat there, it let me know that I belonged there. All I needed was to be exposed to something I had never been exposed to. And then I was comfortable sitting there. At first, I was a little nervous because I didn't see anybody that was young like me or that looked like me. But when I sat good and in my seat and I settled in my seat, all I needed was that exposure. And I expected the kind of service that I got. I expected everything that they had. When they say, oh, Mrs. Scott, I said, yes. And so I acted like I belonged there. I acted like that was where I was supposed to go because I had been exposed. And so exposure gives us permissions to shift our expectations and change our environment. And so the next time I flew, it may not have been first class, but baby, I knew I would be there again. I knew I could get there. And so that is the thing, is knowing that it is possible for me. So exposure gives me permission to shift my expectations and change my environment. And the environment that I was changing was the environment right here. Because now no longer could I say, well, you don't deserve this or you don't deserve that, because now I have had exposure. I've been exposed to something. My mind has been open to something I did not know existed for me. I'm using my first class ticket. I'm using that first class flight as an example. But what is it that you need to be exposed to so that you know, yes, you deserve it. Yes, you can sit there. Yes, you can do it. Yes, that dream can come true. Yes, that vision can come true. So for me, I'm using that flight as an example. But what is it that you keep telling yourself when you think about the scenario of you being on a TED Talk stage, that you're telling yourself that won't happen? I'll mess up. They won't call me. No, 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 no. We are going to be exposed. And how do you get exposed? Well, I'm going to definitely let you know that you have to go there in your mind. If you cannot go there physically, let me tell you, when I first began and created Portia Scott Media, I knew that we would have our own space. I knew we would have our own studio. And so listen to this. Right now, y'all see this studio? Oh, honey, this is amazing studio. It is right downstairs in my house. But do I know that we're going to build this state-of-the-art studio? Absolutely. So the other day we were at church and I looked over and there was a building that is completely empty. And I was able to see Portia Scott Media. I was able in my mind every single time to think about that, is that I see Portia Scott Media. Every time I come and I sit in this chair, every time I turn, I say, you know what? I'm going to give them the studio experience even in my house. I got my lights. I got my mics on. I got all the stuff going on because I know that we're going to be able to build a world-class studio, honey, where we are having all of our shows are going to be on. People are going to want to have their shows in our studio. Come on. We're going to do our podcast interviews from there. And so I have to go there in my mind. I have to go there in my mind before I ever get there. And so if that means I got to Google TED Talk and I got to Photoshop my face on a stage, then I'm going to do it. If that means that I'm going to buy, my husband, let me tell you, he bought me this magazine. I think it was Entrepreneur, right? It was Success Magazine, and it had all these pictures on it. And let me tell you what I still need to do, because he bought it right at quarantine, is I need to go to the CVS and I need to go ahead and print my picture and put it on the magazine, because I need to go there. And the more and more that I am exposed, the more and more that you can't tell me that I don't deserve it. And you, I mean you, the one in my head. I'm not talking about the haters and all of that. I'm talking about the person that you look at in the mirror, because that is the person that gives us the most hate. That is the person that we have to learn to shut down so that we can go to the next level. So exposure gives me permission to shift my expectations and change my environment. And yes, it was Delta. That's the way we fly. So number 2, exposure is confirmation that it's possible. Exposure is just confirmation that it is possible. You guys, it is possible. I'm telling you. And I have to use these same things in my own life, oftentimes every day. I told my husband that one of the things that when I stepped out into entrepreneurship, yeah, it was hard being the finance, the marketing, all the stuff that I usually had a department to go to when I was working for another organization. But the hardest thing is right here. The hardest thing is to keep her knowing that it is possible, that her dreams and her visions are possible, that I need to be exposed. Y'all, sometime when we were able to go out, I would ride around to different places that I wanted to see the buildings. I constantly tell him, oh, you know, our office in LA is going to I know y'all done heard this before, but I don't care, that our office is going to overlook the beach and it's going to be all glass, and that every hour on the hour we are going to have some dance music that plays, so that is going on. We dream. And so when I cannot get there physically, oh, I'm going to get there mentally. I'm going to get there in my imagination. I love listen to this, what the great Bishop I.V. Hilliard says. He says, I'm going to paint. What does he say? I'm going to paint the picture on the canvas of my imagination. Woo! I'm going to paint that picture on the canvas of my imagination, meaning that I'm going to place it in my mind. So you can't take it from me. If they drop the building, if they go and bulldoze the building, if this happens, you cannot take what's in my imagination. So anyway, exposure is confirmation that it's possible. It's confirmation that it is possible. And so last week, we had someone on the show, Cassandra Worthy, and she is the CEO and the founder of Change Enthusiasm. And one of the things she said, was she saw Ben Carson in the 4th grade. So she does Change Enthusiasm, but she was a chemical engineer, Georgia Tech chemical engineer. Hello, somebody. And she met Ben Carson when she was in the 4th grade. And from then, she wanted to be a pediatric neurosurgeon because she had heard that he was the one to, he separated twins. And so she said she wanted to do that. And up until the 4th grade, until her sophomore year at Georgia Tech, that is what she was going to do. And then she had something that happened and she said, I don't want to go to school for that long, but I still want to stay in science and math. It was the exposure in 4th grade that let her know that she could be a pediatric neurosurgeon. So just by that one time of exposure, it led her to a career in science and math because somebody looks like her, because he let her know that it was possible. And so I wonder not just how many of us are being exposed, but how many of us are exposing other people. What is it in your story that you're keeping, but somebody needs to know that I can open my own salon, that I can open my own thing, that I can go into math, into science, that I can go into fashion design, that I can own multiple properties, be married, have kids, that I can have my own mental health practice and counseling. What is it about our story that we have been holding on to that we are not allowing somebody else to be exposed to? Come on, somebody, because we don't know what you do. We don't know who you are unless you allow us to be exposed to your story. And so it's not only about what I'm exposing myself to, but when you start to expose your story and you realize that your story is exposing somebody else to their purpose, to their passion, on the road to their destiny and their journey, oh, that's when your eyes really open up. That's when you really say, I got it. Because if I can give somebody that it's possible, then my next level is going to be the thing that I think is impossible. So I think it's so important that when we're looking at exposure, that we're looking at what are we exposed to? Because we understand that exposure gives us permission to shift our expectations and change our environments. And I say this to you, who are you shifting expectations for? And how are you going to change their environments? And so Cassandra talks about this, and she ended up being a chemical engineer, but it was that exposure to Ben Carson. And then she was able to see him while she worked at Procter & Gamble and was able to tell him how he had impacted her life from the 4th grade. One encounter, one keynote speech, one talk, one thing. She didn't even have this long conversation, but it was seeing him. How many people just need you to do what you're called to do so they can see you walk into the room, so they can see you with a healthy family and marriage and children? How many people need you to go back to your alma mater, to your high school, and tell your story? Because all it takes is them to see you. She didn't have this long conversation in the 4th grade. She just saw him. We need that for people to see us. We need for people to see your story, and we need to see other stories to know that it can happen. You guys, I talk about Kathy Hughes all the time. Hearing her story, I go back and I listen to her story over and over and over again, and I think about her story and I say, you know what, if Kathy could have did it, I have a head start above where she started at. And so if she can do it, a single mom losing, all this money she lost and not making money, surely I can do it because I have exposure to somebody that did. And so one of the things that I want us to do is that I want us to do this exercise called 3 dreams. Listen. It's an exercise called 3 dreams. This is what I want you to do. I want you to think about your 3 dreams. I'm always going to push you to think about your 3 dreams. I'm always going to give you inspiration, but I'm going to give you empowerment, which is your inspiration to do. So baby, let's get doing the work. So I want you to write down 3 dreams, the dreams that scare you, the dreams that you go back and take yourself to and say, I don't deserve that client. I don't deserve that house. I don't deserve these people in my life. I don't deserve that. I want you to go and think about those 3 dreams. And I want you to write those 3 dreams down. And I want you to put wherever those 3 dreams are next to your bed. And what I want you to do is I want you to answer these 3 questions. Can I get exposed to it today? We all can. We may not be able to walk into the shop that we want to own. We may not be able to go into a TED Talk facility. We may not be able to go up to the college where we want to go because things are shut down, but we could always have Google. We always have ways to get in our car. And maybe it is just driving by that building one more time. Maybe it is driving by that company where you want to work for because you want to impact and bring value to that organization. Whatever it is, one is, can we get exposed today? Yep, we sure can, thanks to the internet, thanks to Google. And number 2 is take a picture of it, right? Screenshot it, whatever it is you need to do, put it on your phone, take that picture with you because it lets you know and it gives you a baseline of where I want to be. Because if I can see it, then I can start to imagine myself there. And that's what we're doing, is that we're taking that dream and that we're going to continue to imagine ourselves there. I'm going to continue to imagine myself in that magazine. I'm going to continue to imagine myself feeding the poor, feeding the homeless. I'm going to imagine myself giving away millions and multi-millions of dollars to causes that will impact, for me, the kingdom of God. For others, it may be you just want to impact kids. You want to go into educational systems and change their curriculums. Whatever it is that you want to do, then I want you to see that so you can continue to see that in your mind. So 1 is, can I get exposed to it today? Number 2 is take a picture, whatever it is, your screenshot. And that's the thing that keeps you back. That's your baseline, that even when they say no, go back to your baseline. That even when it doesn't work out, go back to your baseline. Even when you mess up, go back to your baseline. Even when it works out, go back to your baseline. Even when they tell you yes, go back to your baseline, because we want to go back to those pictures so we can start to paint that picture. And then what I want you to do is over the next weeks, I want you to take that picture. I want you to take those dreams, and every single night before bedtime, I want you to pull it out. I want you to go over those dreams and just say them out loud. And this is the way that we say it, is that we don't just say feeding the homeless, but what we want to do is put an action to it. I am going to be the one to feed the homeless. I am going to be the one on that TEDx stage. I am going to be the one that's going to create a community for homeless people that they don't have to pay for homes. I am going to be the one that's going to raise millions to give it away. I am going to be the voice for people to know that the world is kind. I am. You want to put you in it. What are you going to do? This dream is nobody else's. So we're not even giving it space, but you're going to look at that and you're going to say every night before bedtime, I am going to do that, whatever those 3 dreams are. And then I want you to look at those pictures and I want you to take a minute, just take a minute, close your eyes and imagine you with those pictures, with those dreams. And so you just take a minute. It's a minute out of your time. I'm not asking for 5 or 10 minutes. I just need us to go back to our baseline. And when we go up, wake up, and you've had your gratitude moment and you've done your devotion and your prayer and you've done all the things you do in your morning routine, I want you to put that in this morning routine. So you do it before bed. So the last thing that you have on your mind is what you're able to do, is that you've already been exposed in your mind, and let you sleep on that. And then when you wake up, go back to that. Before you open an email, before you do anything, I want to make sure that you're opening, that you're looking at those 3 dreams, that you're saying, I am going to do this, that you're looking at that picture. Why? So your day has started with gratitude. Your day has started with belief. Your day has started with exposure. We want to end our day and we want to begin our day with exposure. This is the thing, my friends. Today, I want us to dream again. I want us to believe again. I want us to be exposed again. And whatever that looks like for you, maybe you don't have a relationship that you want or a healthiness, and even in your mind and things like that. I want you to get exposed. Get exposed that you're able to have that. Read a story of someone that's doing what you want to do, what you believe is possible for you. Sometimes we just need to know that somebody else was able to do it. And that's the thing that kicks us into gear. So we're just going to go over it. That exposure gives me permission to shift my expectations and change my environment. And then it gives us confirmation that it is possible. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible, my friends. You know, one of the things I love is to hear other people's dreams. I love to hear what other people are expecting for and what they want to be exposed to, because I just believe in coming along with people. One of the things I would love to do is I would love to hear what it is. What are some of those dreams that you guys have? What are some of those dreams? I know Aaron said yes, that he wants to be able to raise millions to give away. That is incredible. That's incredible. And so just being exposed to people that have been able to do that. And Aaron has an amazing network of people that have been able to do that. So he can see it. And so if it happens for one, God is no respecter of person. And so what he does for one in principle, he will do for another. And so we are so excited that we are able to be exposed to people, to places, to things that can expose us, so that we can shift our expectations and change our environments. Let's go impact the world, my friends. That is what it's all about, is we are going to impact the world. I believe that through storytelling, I believe that through everything that I do, that I can create a kinder world. That's what I want to see. Pure and simple. So you guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your interaction. I appreciate it so much, you guys. This has been amazing. I love you guys so much. At some point this week, we are going to do some interactions, and I want to bring some of you guys on to kind of talk about those things that you have been exposed to that kind of changed your thinking. Like, what was the thing that thank you, Tracy. What was the thing that caused you to change your thinking? And so if you guys want to come on this week, I want you to let me know. Say yes, yes, yes. Hello, darling. Hello, darling. Hello, darling. If you want to come on and kind of tell us about a quick exposure story, right? And when you were exposed to something and you knew it was able for you, and it could be something so small, you know, you may have been able to see outside of your city limits and know that the sky was the limit just by that. So let me know. Oh, thank you so much, Pamela. So let me know if you guys want to come on. Hello, 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 darling. I will make sure that we do it this week, and that I have the link available for you guys to join me on the Wake Up and Show Up call. We'll have a couple people come in and out so you guys can share your story, so that we can be exposed to what you're doing, what you've been exposed to, and that will help us in what we're doing. So you guys, as always, we are here every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. You guys know that you guys can always keep in contact with us. And the way that you do that is text the phrase wake up to 31996, 31996. Text the phrase wake up to 31996. And so you guys, as always, we end every show with this declaration. Waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, I will show up. See you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.